Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Hey, wanted to pop in. I know you thought you weren't going to get a video today. It's Christmas Eve. But maybe you can listen to this while you wrapping the presents or working with the elves. And I want you to think about this because now understand this first is it's going to be a hard pill to swallow. And I also want you to understand that it's different for different people. So I have results in my life, in my marriage. If you live a different way and you are happily married, then you have results in your life and in your marriage. So I've seen atheists say that they have love. I've seen Muslims say that they have love, Christians, Buddhists. So I say that to say is I can't just say there's only one way to love, to find love, to have a happy and healthy relationship because other people will say otherwise. But I know how I did it, and I want to share this with you because I see this a lot as I'm coaching. When people come to me and they say, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And on the outside looking in, I see how things don't always line up. So I want you to think about this. And before getting in your feelings, sit down and talk to yourself and really just kind of go through things and get to the root of your decisions, of your lifestyle. So the question is, are you the prize? Are you the prize? You being at it's Christmas time, you can say, are you the gift? And that's hard. But if you become the gift, if you become the prize, then you will attract the prize. And here's what I want you to understand. For me, I came to a place in my life and I said, you know what? I want to be a prize. I want to be the absolute best man that I can be. I want to be the absolute best husband that I can be. So, and I want to be the best person that I can be. So I went through my life and I started with the small things. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to curse. I'm not going to curse because cursing is called profanity, which means that it is profane. If I say that I'm a Christian, that means that I'm trying to live a righteous lifestyle. If I'm trying to live righteous, that means that I am trying to be sacred. The profane and the sacred cannot be combined. So I say if I want to be righteous, if I want to be sacred, then I cannot be profane. And it's not just cursing, it goes into other things, and I'll touch on that. So I say I'm not going to curse. The other reason why I'm not going to curse is because it will allow me to separate myself, to stand out, to not be a part of the crowd because everybody curses. But also, I want to be a role model to my children. And I looked at it and I said, okay, what is cursing attached to? Typically, it's attached to foolishness, jesting and jiving, or anger and violence. So if I curse and I make a habit of cursing, and I get into an argument with my woman, those curse words become a weapon. If I curse, and cursing is to make a point, to put emphasis on a thought, emotion, or feeling, then that can incite violence. Because when you use curse words, a curse word is more likely to be a fighting word than non-curse words. And me being a man, me being short-tempered, me being someone who has a past of being toxic, controlling, and everything that a man or a human should not be, I want to eliminate this small thing because it's the small fox that spoiled the vine. The little bit of leaven, that leaveneth the whole lump. So let me remove this small thing. So by me not cursing, it actually it makes me appear in any circle I enter more mature. Because if I curse, I can't I can't talk to the kids if I curse all the time. I can't speak at a church if I curse all the time. I can't talk to people without offending them if they don't curse. Now, for the people who curse, okay, cool. Means nothing. Some people have said, oh, don't trust a person if they don't curse. But you have to evaluate, why would that be? Why does a person have to be profane in order to be trusted? So I removed that. I say, you know what? I'm not going to get drunk. Meaning that I'm not going to drink to the point. I'm not talking about not having a glass of wine or, one drink here and there socially. I'm not going to get drunk. Meaning I'm not going to drink to the point that I can feel that my mind and my judgment, my speech, my behavior, whatever it may be, is altered. I'm not going to drink. And the reason why I'm not going to drink is because, for one, that can turn into irresponsibility. I could end up driving drunk. I could end up acting out of character. I could end up hurting my woman, hurting my children if I'm getting drunk. It impairs your judgment. I can make a bad judgment call and it costs my life. It costs somebody else's life. It costs my freedom. It ruins my reputation. It diminishes my character. So I'm not going to get drunk. I'm not against, Jesus turned water into wine. But you shouldn't be a wine bibbler. You shouldn't be a drunkard. So says the good book. So I'm not going to get drunk. That was something I said. Also, if I'm not drinking, then I'm not irate, yelling, screaming, cursing, doing crazy stuff, putting my family at risk. I said I'm not going to watch pornography, because if I do that, then I'm feeding lust. And if I'm feeding lust, lust is not like thirst. When you feed lust, it gets stronger. And eventually, the way the mind works is the mind can only see something for so long before it has to hold it, before it has to touch it, before it has to do it. The mind can only imagine something for so long before it has to bring it to fruition, make it a reality, materialize it. So if I'm feeding lust in that way, and I'm looking at a woman who is not my wife, eventually my heart is going to feel compelled to touch a woman that is not my wife. Because if I'm watching somebody else and lusting after somebody else, to be with my woman, even before marriage, would not be pleasing enough because I'm watching somebody else. Now, I know this to be true about the mind, the human mind, but many will not admit that. So I say I'm going to eliminate that. I'm not going to do that. I never was into that anyways, because I was more into the real deal. But I had to grow there and say, you know what? I'm going to be a one-woman man. I'm going to be a one-woman man, because who would I be if I am juggling women? How can one woman ever fully, truly give me her heart if I don't fully and truly give her my heart? Also, what would my children say about me if they see their mother is in love with me, but I'm not in love with their mother? And if their mother has given her heart to me, but I have not given my heart to her, what type of example would I be to my son or to my daughter? I don't have a daughter, I have two boys, but when I made the decision to change, I didn't know if a daughter was going to come. And what type of example would I be? I read a quote one time in my development that said, the best thing a father can do for his children is love their mother. And you may disagree with that, but I agree with it wholeheartedly, because that is my children's first example of love. That is their first representation of love. So if I don't love my children's mother, then what do I teach them about love? If the woman who gave birth to them is not good enough for their father to love her wholeheartedly, what do I say to them about love if I treat them like a mistake by putting them in their mother's womb and then walking out of her life? What am I saying to my children about them, about responsibility, about self-respect, about love, about the act of sex, about unity, marriage, commitment? What are my actions saying? And yes, I could chalk it up and say, oh, it was a mistake. But that me admitting to a mistake does not heal the pain, does not erase what the damage that has been done. So I said, I'm not going to do that. So I'm not going to gamble, because if I'm gambling, then I will eventually be putting my family's financial future at risk. I will be ruining my family's financial security, and one day we could be left with nothing. If I'm gambling, then I'm operating from the wrong place in my heart, and I am chasing a thrill. I'm chasing pleasure. And if I'm chasing pleasure, then that means I have not chosen happiness. And if I have not chose to be happy, that means that my happiness is a contingency, meaning my happiness depends on a response or a reaction from a feeling, meaning that I need to have money to be happy, or I need to win a game to be happy, or I need to sleep with a woman to be happy, or I need to have this car or that job or this person, this spouse to be happy. See, if happiness is a contingency, then you're miserable. And you are actually chasing pleasure, and pleasure does not lead to happiness, it leads to pain. So think about this and understand this. And so I made that decision. I won't gamble. So I start to go through. I say, you know what? I won't get high, because getting high will be very similar to getting drunk. I won't turn to a substance to alter the state of my mind trying to find peace or happiness, because my peace and my happiness is my birthright and it is my choice. So I do not need alcohol in a bottle to convince me that I'm worry-free, stress-free, and at peace. I will not give a substance that much power. Instead, I will give my mind the power over my life to name it, to claim it, to speak it into existence. I am peaceful. I am happy. I am joyful. I am blessed. So I will take control over my life so that a substance does not control my life. And I said, I will not abuse my body with food, meaning I will not be gluttonous. I would not mistreat my body by binging and overeating to the point that it affects my health, and it affects my image, and it affects my self-esteem. That does not mean I'm chewing on raw vegetables all day, or eating like, some of the people ate in the Bible. That doesn't mean that. But what it means is everything must be in moderation. So if I have a glass of red wine, I'm not going to have 3 glasses. If I eat something that may not be the most healthy thing in the world, like I bought me a piece of carrot cake, and I'm going to tear that carrot cake up, but I'm not going to eat a whole cake or half a cake, and I'm not going to eat a cake every day, a piece of cake every day. So I decided that I would buffet my body, train my body and treat my body to the best of my ability like a temple. I told myself that I would change the type of music I listen to, because what goes in your eyes and your ears goes to your mind, and your mind controls your life. So if I'm only feeding myself all the time, now I may study music or I may listen to music to hear what's going on in society, but I am not indulging in the music for enjoyment if the message is contrary to the lifestyle I'm trying to live. So I said I will not indulge in this toxic music. Same with toxic television shows, toxic movies. Everything that goes in my ears and my eyes must be serving a purpose. Even if it is toxic, it is for the sake of knowledge to understand what I'm up against in the world and how my life and my message has to counteract and go against the messaging that those who are watching me or looking up to me may be getting, so that I can give a different message, a counter message that gives them some type of balance and causes them to think about their life and their choices and their actions. So I made that decision. So I say this, and I could keep going. I didn't write any of this down, so I'm kind of just thinking off the top of my head. But I say this because I decided to change my life and to become the prize. But see, guess what? If I do all of those things, then I want to attract that type of person in my life. So I did not, a lady asked me, Tony, well, what qualities did your wife have that made you choose her as your wife, made you want to marry her? And the same changes that I was working on and growing toward, my wife was in the same lane. So we're not perfect, and she wasn't completely perfect, but she was growing and wanted to grow. So my wife does not curse, which I'm happy about, because I don't want my children to feel that it's okay to use profane language. So when I go out I remember my son was playing football, and here he is 10 years old, and all the boys playing, and now even at 12 playing soccer, all the boys will be over there playing, and they don't think you can hear them. My son doesn't curse, but I'm hearing the other kids, F, you MFer, hey, suck my MFer. I'm like, wow. But guess what? Their parents curse. So if you're an adult, you can do what you want to do. But what you do, your children do as you do, not as you say do. So they may grow up and decide to curse. Okay, they're an adult. They can do what they want to do. I don't curse, but guess what? My parents didn't curse. So that changed the way adults saw me, because adults would be hearing teenagers cursing when I'm with my friends, their parents hearing the other guys cursing and don't hear me cursing. They come to me and say, Tony, you are so well behaved. You are so respectful. They go to my parents, your son is so well behaved. He is so respectful. People come to me and my wife all the time, your children are so well behaved. It's because they are modeling their parents. They don't see us loud and screaming and cursing and drunk and acting irate and acting crazy and untrained and unlearned. They don't see us acting like that, so they don't act like that. But if we act like that, then they would act like that. So my wife does not curse. And I remember one time she was driving and talking on the phone, and somebody cut her off. And we had just met, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And she was with a friend who cursed and get drunk and it was a roommate. And it sounded like she said the F word, but she knew I didn't curse. So as soon as I heard that F word, she hung up the phone. Because I think she realized, oh wow, this man don't curse. And it's not that big of a deal, and I know some of y'all getting hung up on it right now, but don't miss, the forest for the trees. And she hung up the phone, and guess what? From that day forward, I never heard her say a curse word again. And at that time, I mean, she probably was real scared, and it probably was something that she was doing, 19 years old. But she didn't curse. I never saw her drunk. Not to say that she never got drunk. She probably had a time where she got drunk. But we would go out, we go to the club, and she may have a drink, but I never saw her get drunk. And I didn't really see her drink. And today, she doesn't really drink. Like if she have some wine, if we at somebody's house, special occasion. But you know why that's attractive to me? Because those things can lead to addiction. And I was raised around women who were addicted to alcohol, and they would drink nonstop, and their behavior was reprehensible. Their attitude, their language, their lifestyle, everything was just appalling. But they would be drunk every day. And these were family members. So I saw that and I realized what could happen if you're given to that. So I did not want a woman that would get drunk. I really didn't want a woman that would even drink, because I didn't even drink at that time. But as I got older and I saw different social circles, and that it could be social and responsible, and that people were, having wine or whatever, or drink responsibly, I started to see it a little differently. But my wife did not have those areas, was not cursing, was not getting drunk, and her heart was pure to the point that she didn't argue and debate. She wasn't loud, she wasn't obnoxious, she wasn't rude, she wasn't conniving, she wasn't deceptive and manipulative. Now, yes, she was a people pleaser and a perfectionist. So early on, I would catch like little small lies, because she didn't want to disappoint me, and I had to let her know, like, listen, that's not something you gotta be worried about. Just talk to me about that. Somebody need to borrow some money, just let me know. It's cool, we'll talk about it. And if the answer is no, then the answer is no. But that's something we got to be on one accord about if we're going to be a team. So I had to talk to her about that. But she wanted to be a people pleaser. So if she looked like she had a bag of money and a close friend come and ask her for some money, she didn't want to say no. Even though when you're in a relationship and you got a budget and you're doing things, you may have to say no. So I had to help her understand that it's going to be some things I want to do. My boys may want to go to the club. But if I'm in a relationship and my woman is not okay with me being in the club looking at booties, especially if I'm not there to dance, I'm a wallflower, so all I'll be doing in the club is looking at booties. So if my woman is not okay with that, then I got to let my boys know I can't go. And so that's what happens when you're in a relationship. You have to make healthy compromises. And so here I was. I respected that. I appreciated that. Now, I take care of my body. I could get a lot better now at 35, but at the time when I was looking for my wife, I was completely ripped. I had an 8-pack, chest, arms. I took care of my body. And when I talked to my wife, I noticed that she wasn't the female version of me. So her genetics is different than mine. Mine was really genetics. I took care of my body, but it really was genetics, because I didn't really have to do a whole lot for an 8-pack. I just kind of was like that since I was little. And then as I played football in college, I worked on it. But my wife, her body was not like when you look at a 100-meter runner in the Olympics, and they have all them abs, and they have these big old, muscular thighs, and these really ripped arms. That's how I looked as a man, but she didn't look like that as a woman. And that wasn't a requirement of mine. I just wanted to know that she took care of herself. And so here's the thing, and then this is something, take this how you will, but And also keep in mind I was 21. But I noticed my wife shave her legs, that they would be so silky smooth. So what it said to me is that her appearance means something to her, and that is time consuming to shave your legs when you, especially having long legs. So that's time consuming. I talked to other women who their legs had more hair than mine. So when I looked at their legs and their legs had more hair than mine, that threw me for a loop because I said, because the women that I saw growing up who legs had hair were typically women who didn't really take care of themselves. So although these women took showers, I did not understand why a woman did not shave her legs. And so that would maybe go to not shaving under her arm or what have you. So as a man, I was looking like, is beauty important? Is your appearance important? And I was asking those questions, and it's small things like that that meant something to me because I was taking care of myself and not letting my nails get dirty, not letting my hair get, gross and unwashed, not letting my beard get scruffy and nasty. I took care of myself, my nails, my skin, my body. I took care of myself, so I wanted my equivalent. So I say that to say, when you look at your life, are you taking care of you? Are you the prize? Are you growing? Are you doing what you need to do to be the best person you can be? Are you looking at the things in your life? And see, here, what I want you to understand is you need to strive to be at a place in your life that you can enter almost any circle and be okay. What I mean by this is you don't want a behavior of yours or a character flaw of yours to block a blessing. So you need to be able to cross over. So I'm a Christian, but an atheist is not going to hate me for being a Christian, may not understand me, may be confused, may disagree with me. But if I was rude and nasty and condescending and I was cursing people out and I was a drunk or I was a pothead, then even that atheist may be turned off by me and not want to be around me because of those things, not because I believe in a God. Because my belief in a God is not harming him or her. But if I had poor character, irresponsibility, made bad decisions, that could harm him or her. A child is not going to be in harm's way, mentally, emotionally, physically around me. And an elderly person, a person of a different race, no one is going to be in harm's way or in danger or at risk of being influenced negatively due to my presence being in the room. And that's what I mean by your character, is evaluate your character and who you are as a person, all the way down to your personality and your conversation skills. And ask yourself, where am I operating from? And I still have to work on this today. And you will always be working on this. But what I have to work on today is not being arrogant. And what I mean by arrogant is not being insecure. Because when you are insecure, it can give you can act out and have a false sense of confidence. So what I have to remind myself of is, Tony, you don't have to state everything that you are and everything that you've done, when you go in a business meeting, when you on an interview, when you're doing this, because Google will tell them all of that. You can go and be humble, unassuming, reserved, quiet, respectful, personable, but wear no accolades on your forehead. And then when a person looks you up or they ask around about you, and then they find out more about you, then they're like, wow, okay, man, this person did this or did that, or has this or has that, and didn't even brag about it, didn't even bring it up, didn't even talk about it. Man, that's something. So I have to remind myself of that, because my insecurity may say, you are poor, dumb, and country. You come from nothing. You don't have a college degree. So people are going to see you as unlearned, as ignorant. You got a country accent. So people are going to think you dumb, that you don't know what you're talking about because you're country. So that insecurity will make me overcompensate. And I struggled with that for years, and I had to grow in that area. So although I didn't get drunk, although I didn't get high, although I didn't watch porn, although I didn't sleep around, although I had worked on all those other things, I still had to work on being secure and confident and okay in my own skin. So you have to ask yourself, where do I need work? If you're the loudest person in the room, then you are seen as the most obnoxious person in the room. You are seen as the most insecure person in the room. You are seen as the most ignorant person in the room, the most annoying person in the room. And you may look at it and say, oh no, I'm just funny. That's just my personality. That's just me. You need to work on your personality. See, what we oftentimes say is, that's just me and I'm not changing for anybody. That's just me. I'm not changing. People say that all the time, but no, that's not you. That's the mediocre you. That's the insecure you. That's the attention-seeking you. That's the broken you, the hurting you, the lost you, the confused you. But see, when you grow fully into you, you can go in any room and make your way. You could go in any situation, in any environment and be okay. It does not mean that there won't be people that don't like you. Because if you grow into you and you are who you need to be, the people that don't like you because they don't like themselves. When you grow into you and you are not intentionally, or not even intentionally, not even accidentally, you're not hurting people. You're not attacking people. You're not being rude, nasty, mean, condescending, prejudiced, racist. You're not any of those things. You are pure-hearted. You are honest. You are open. You're transparent. You're real. You're loving. You're caring. You're giving. You're forgiving. You're gracious. You're grateful. You're blessed. You're living abundantly. You're positive. You're peaceful. You are all of those things. The people who don't like you, they have a problem with themselves, and they have been running from their highest self. They have not grown into who they're supposed to be. Hey, I may go 45, so pause me if you need to. Come back later. But I want you to understand this, that you have to grow. Now see, hear me when I tell you this. When you become the prize, what you have to realize is that it depends on mostly your character. Now, your character also is shown through how you treat yourself and how you treat others. So you can be a great person to others, but if you treat yourself poorly, then your character is still out of line. You can treat yourself amazing, meaning everything about you looks taken care of, but the way you treat other people, is rude and condescending. Your character is out of line. Now what happens is when you become the prize, character based, you elevate to a new level. And now you attract your equal. You attract your equal. And understand this, just because they are your equal does not mean you are identical. There's a difference. So what I mean by this is my wife is not crazy about fried chicken. Like, she can eat a bowl of vegetables. I'm not crazy about a bowl of vegetables. But every now and then I want to touch me a piece of fried chicken. My wife is very energetic at sports games, at my son's games. I am very quiet and don't say a word out loud enough for somebody else to hear me. I may cheer, I may clap, but I don't yell and scream. My wife yells and screams. We are complete opposite there. My wife was never promiscuous. So she is conservative. Me, I changed my life from being nasty, being a little freak. So we completely opposite there. But what's happening is where our heart landed, where we grew to, our morals and our values are the same. We are equals. I don't get drunk. She doesn't get drunk. I don't curse. She doesn't curse. I don't smoke. She doesn't smoke. I don't gamble. She doesn't gamble. I'm not into porn. She's not into porn. I'm not into self-pleasure. She's not into self-pleasure. You see, our belief system around how we treat our spirit. And people say, nah, some of y'all just got hooked on that right there, what I said. Now, what's wrong with self-pleasure? The issue that I see with it is that you are manipulating the body and the mind to respond to stimulation that is not from your spouse. So now you become hooked on and open to, and what happens is it actually starts to open you up and make you more adventurous, which could lead to promiscuity. So you have to tame your spirit man. You have to tame that and make sure that you are in bounds with your thoughts and with your actions. And think about this. When you do that, pleasure, whatever form it may be, if it's not with your spouse, when you do that, you're chasing a feeling. That feeling is to alleviate stress, pain, worry, loneliness. It's artificial. It does not benefit you. It does not benefit your life. It does not add years to your life. It alleviates your stress, pain, and worries momentarily. But what happens is the more you give into that, eventually you want the real deal. And that is how you find yourself on your back or on top of somebody else outside of marriage, because you've already opened your body up to it and become used to it and accustomed to it. And today it is a popular and promoted thing, and people are saying, do this to yourself, do this to yourself, please yourself, get to know yourself. You're not considering what it's doing to your spirit and what it's doing to your mind, and how you are altering, and you are now becoming an addict for a dopamine release, a serotonin release. You're becoming an addict to a feeling, to alleviate another feeling that you are feeling. and you're not identifying what that feeling is. So go down the list in every aspect of your life and evaluate where you are before the new year, before you go into the next month, to the next year. Evaluate where you are in your life and see what areas you need to grow in and become the prize. And when you become the prize, truly become the prize, not tricking yourself, not lying to yourself, but you truly are sacrificing. You truly have tamed your spirit. You've tamed your mind. You've trained your mind. And you're working on yourself in every area. You elevate. And when you elevate, people who are not on your level emotionally and spiritually and mentally and physically, although they may approach you, if they spend a minute or two in your presence, they'll quickly realize y'all on two different playing fields. Y'all on two different levels, and they gotta either go grow or go settle for somebody on their level because you elevate. Think about it like this. A more practical way to think about this is if you come up to a job and you just have your GED, you got to start at this level with this pay. But if you come with your bachelor's, you start at this level with this pay. If you come with your master's, you start at this level with this pay. If you come with your doctorate, you start at this level with this pay. You see how, just an example, now there are exceptions to the rules because I've been an entrepreneur for 12 years. I could possibly go in and I built a brand in the world. I can go into a situation without a college degree and be paid more than someone with a master's degree, but that's because of the results that I've shown. But typically, on average, you are paid based on what you bring to the table initially, what you accomplish. The same thing happens in life, is when you elevate to a certain level, you're going to get a different type. You're going to attract a different type of person into your life. And if you're already with someone and you grow, you're going to outgrow them to where he or she won't even feel comfortable being around you anymore. And you will not feel comfortable being around them. And the two of you will then know that unless we're going to grow together, then we're going to have to let go so we can grow. So I want you to understand this and really think about and ask yourself, am I the prize? And this painful. If you got this far, put "be blessed" in the comments. You really doing the work, and I appreciate you. And I don't want you to get hung up, because it's easy to get offended and say, "Oh, well, Tony, I curse. So you trying to tell me I can't have a good man if I curse?" Or a man say, "Well, man, I smoke weed, but what you trying to say? I can't have no woman if I smoke weed." Look, you can do whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do. You hear me? But understand this. You will attract what you are. When I say that, I don't mean who walks up to you. I mean who you can actually be with. So my point is, let me help you understand this. And don't get mad at me now. Don't get mad at me now. Don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you. Don't get mad with me now. I will not be with a woman who curses. As petty as that may sound. Because to me, cursing defiles the spirit. And it corrupts the mind. And it corrupts communication. And it misleads the children. And it can turn into violence or verbal abuse. And it also represents immaturity and a lack of knowledge to express what's on your mind. That's what cursing represents to me. it may not represent that to you. To you, it may represent truth, honesty, communication, passion, emotion, this, that. It may represent all of that to you. Guess what? Not to me. So we wouldn't be together. So that's what I'm saying. So what that means is I wouldn't be your prize and you wouldn't be my prize. I would never be with a woman who gets drunk. I would never be with a woman who indulges in self-pleasure or in pornography, which is also self-pleasure, because I believe it manipulates the spirit, the inner man, inner woman, and it promotes promiscuity and it feeds lust and it entices lustful spirits. So I believe that act of pleasure should be reserved for your partner under a covenant, meaning in marriage. As I grew to that point, I wasn't always there. So you could be here today and you attracting what's here. But if you grow to here tomorrow, then now you're going to start attracting what's here. And then if next month you grow to here, you're going to start attracting what's here. Just like your pay goes up every time you add a certification or a degree, your pay increases. Every year you're on the job, your pay increases. So the more you grow, the better your life is going to be. So I want you to understand that you can do whatever you want to do, but it does determine who you will attract in your life. So you say, Tony, so you wouldn't be with a woman just because she cursed? Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. And if she that attached to curse words, then that says something about her. If she can't eliminate that for the sake of raising the children, if she can't eliminate that for the sake of being able to conversate and communicate in every room, with every age group, with every religion, with every race, with every denomination, if she can't let go of that for that, then we see life differently. I wouldn't be with a woman who smokes. So it's a lot of women today that's sitting and they're saying, well, hey, I want a man like such and such. Man, I want a man with that mindset. Guess what? If that man with that mindset believes that smoking harms the lungs, harms the esophagus, alters the mind, and shortens the lifespan, so he does not believe in smoking. So guess what? He's not going to be with a woman who smokes. And so you have to understand that, and vice versa. If a woman does not smoke and she thinks it's nasty, she doesn't want to kiss an ashtray, although all the rappers and athletes have made marijuana cool. If she doesn't want her newborn baby with you to get a contact high, studies show this, read about marijuana and how it's in the pores and how it stays in the pores for a period of time, that if you hold your baby, that marijuana coming out of your pores and seeping into your baby's skin, and your baby getting a contact high, your newborn, because of your marijuana filled pores. But people don't think about that because it's just green leaf. That's God creation. Listen to me. I used to sell weed, okay? I've never seen a person come to me and stay the same. It's a drug. It is a drug. Call it what you want to call it. It's a drug, okay? And it changes your personality. It changes you as a person. It alters your mind. It changes your life. It derails your life. You become an addict. Because if you were an addict, you would need it. It's a drug. You hear me? So I want you to understand and just go down the list from what you may call the petty, the little small things, to the major things. Go down the list and see where you need to change. See where you need to grow. So if you are not attracting the type of person, meaning that the person who wants to be in a relationship with you, If that person is not the type of person that you want to be with, keep growing. Keep growing, because we always have growth. Another thing I would not do, I would not be with a woman who uses her body as bait online. Meaning that she takes pictures that has no purpose. Meaning she shows her butt in a thong bathing suit, or she shows her backside in every picture to say, look at my butt. My butt is nice. My butt is big. Come and get it. Oh, because it serves no purpose. And so that lets me know that she is objectifying herself because she feels and believes she is an object of affection, and that body part is bait to a man who is led by lust. And guess what? You got everyday women who are labeling themselves as classy and wife ready, using their body as bait online and expecting to attract a mature and ready man. And that type of man is not looking for that. You got women online smoking weed, huffing and puffing to look cool because reality television and rappers and celebrities make it seem harmless. And so she promotes her smoking, thinking that she looks cool, but then says out the next breath she wants a good man. But a man who is given to a addiction, whatever a woman can suffer from, gambling addiction, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, anything a woman can suffer from, it's magnified times 10 in a man across the board. So if a woman is given to it, if she attracts a man that is given to that same vice, his experience with that vice may be 10 times more detrimental than her experience, because a woman is actually more mature and has more self-control than a man. And just think about it. Just look back through your family. Look back through your family and see the difference between male and female addicts and the level that is taken to across the board. See the difference between a violent woman and a violent man, an abusive woman and an abusive man. A man a lot of times is times 10. If a woman punches a man in his face, and that man punches that woman in her face, what do you think gonna do the most damage? If a woman gambles and then a man gambles, what are the stories that you hear about gambling on the news and people's house going into foreclosure and losing everything? It's typically at the hands of a man. But it's women who are addicted to gambling too. But somehow, majority of those women are able to keep their house, keep their 401k, keep their cars. But the men, so understand this. And I want to make this here point. And I talk too long. Man, I talk too long. Lord, forgive me. Man. I want to make this point though. Ladies, because I know a lot of ladies watch this. A lot of times women look at themselves and say, well, Tony, I curse, I smoke weed, I watch porn, I masturbate, I go to the strip club, I do this, I do that, but I'm not a bad person. I could be a wife, I could be a great mother, I'm a great mother. And a lot of times women look at what they do and think that if a man does the same thing, that he still can be just like them. But don't understand that what's in a woman's life shows up totally different in a man's life. And if you want a man that's going to be faithful, responsible, and not addicted to anything other than growth, then you have to become the woman that's equal. And if you are a man and you want a woman that's going to be faithful and responsible and trustworthy, then you have to become a man that is the equal. Hey, this is Tony Gaskins. Y'all, please forgive me. I cannot believe that I talked 55 minutes, but y'all forgive me. And hopefully, if you didn't get through this the first time, you got to the end. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm trying not to offend people, but if you want to hear the truth, I got to share the truth. Even if it's only my truth. But I'm speaking from a place of success in love, in a relationship, 13 years of marriage, happy marriage. It don't matter how long you've been with somebody if you ain't happy. 50 years don't matter if it's been 50 years of misery. 2 years of happiness is better than 50 years of misery. So understand that. Hey, this is Tony Gaskins. God bless you. Have a Merry Christmas. If you see this on another day, God bless you on that day too.